For centuries, the night sky appeared to be eternal and completely static. Even Albert Einstein built his early theories around the idea that the cosmos existed in a fixed, unchanging state. That changed in 1929. At the Mount Wilson Observatory, Edwin Hubble pointed the massive Hooker telescope toward distant galaxies and noticed a pattern that shattered the static model. The light from those galaxies was stretching as it traveled, shifting to longer, redder wavelengths. This redshift proved the galaxies were moving away from us at high speeds. The stillness we see from Earth is a persistent illusion. We are actually living inside an actively expanding cosmic structure. If everything is spreading apart today, then the laws of physics dictate that in the past, the entire universe was much smaller and more compact. We can use our current measurements of space to hit rewind on the cosmic remote control, tracing the paths of these galaxies backward in time. This allows us to move past philosophical speculation and reconstruct the history of the universe through direct reverse engineering. As we rewind the clock back several billion years, galaxies pack closer together, making the gravitational pull between them significantly stronger. This chart tracks the expansion rate of the universe over billions of years. The sharp upward curve on the right shows the modern era, where a mysterious force called dark energy is accelerating the expansion. However, in the distant past, the density of matter was so high that gravity dominated the environment, effectively acting as a brake that slowed the expansion down. If we follow this path far enough, the vast empty spaces we see today vanish, leaving a universe that is unimaginably dense and hot. At 380,000 years after the start, the heat is so intense that atoms cannot form. The universe exists as an opaque, glowing fog of plasma. This map visualizes the cosmic microwave background, the actual afterglow of that ancient plasma state. Even today, this radiation is visible in every direction we look. As space expanded over billions of years, it stretched this ancient light into the cold, invisible microwaves that our instruments detect right now. This radiation serves as a forensic fossil record, providing undeniable proof that the entire universe was once a superheated, compressed environment. Rewinding to the first few minutes, the universe acts as a giant fusion reactor. The environment is so extreme that it begins baking the very first hydrogen and helium nuclei. Mathematical models predict specific ratios for these early elements, and those predictions perfectly match the actual amounts of hydrogen and helium we find in the cosmos today. One final mystery remains. The universe is remarkably uniform in every direction, which suggests that the most distant parts of the sky were once in direct contact. This requires a moment, just a fraction of a second after the start, where space expanded with such violent speed that it smoothed out all irregularities, an event called inflation. This era represents the absolute limit of our current science. It is the furthest back we can see before our known laws of physics stop functioning entirely. Now we flip the perspective and hit play, watching the universe rapidly cool and expand forward from that initial state. Matter begins to dominate antimatter, atoms form, and massive clouds of gas collapse into the very first stars. A typical explosion sends matter flying across a pre-existing room, but the Big Bang creates the room. Space itself grows, stretching its own dimensions to push everything apart simultaneously. Because space itself expanded, this event didn't happen in some distant, separate location. It happened exactly in the space you are occupying right now. Every step of this timeline is anchored by forensic measurements we can verify with modern telescopes. You can see the evidence in everyday reality. The static on an old TV contains traces of that ancient microwave afterglow, and the hydrogen in your drinking water was forged in the first 3 minutes of time. When you interact with these things, you are physically touching the original matter that formed at the very start of the universe.